Hello to all my plant buddies and weed eaters, Scott here, and I want to introduce you to a couple of my friends, Henbit and Purple Deadnettle. Both of these plants look something similar, which makes sense because they're in the same family, and they also have some interchangeable properties. The taste is fairly similar, though I like Henbit a bit better. Nutritionally, they have similar profiles, high in vitamins, high in fiber, and medicinally there's a fair overlap.
Okay, so we have Henbit and Purple Deadnettle. And they're both members of the mint family, meaning they have square stems, or how you can identify it, square stems and opposite leaves. They both have these tubular-shaped blossoms with the two little lips at the bottom, and these are legitimately delicious. They're sweet, a little floral taste, tender. Not like the rest of this booger. It can get a little crunchy, especially as it's older. The seed producing part can be a little problematic if you get it when it's older. Now we can always just clip that off. If you're looking at both of these, you probably can already tell that they look a little different now that we have them up close. But let's see specifically what it is. Okay, Purple Deadnettle has a more triangular or maybe a little bit heart-shaped leaf, and the leaf is on a petiole. That's a leaf stem, the stem under the leaf. That's how it connects, and all the leaves do, even the little teeny tiny ones. You may have to lift them up and take a look, but they do have a tiny petiole. Whereas the Henbit does not have petioles. The leaves are clasping. They're also this sort of a scallopy, like a fan shape. The Purple Deadnettle is fuzzier, and I find the texture and the flavor to be slightly less pleasant. I find this to be a little more fun to eat, but technically this one is fuzzy too. It's just not nearly as noticeable. There is a look-alike called ground ivy, and it's not toxic. It's edible within reason, and it could be mistaken for either one of these. The way you can tell it apart is the blossoms are bigger, and also it tends to root at the nodes where it touches the ground. Normally you'll see these growing mostly up, whereas ground ivy, it'll be touching the ground in several places, and that's how it spreads. This one looks like a Christmas tree. This one looks like your tall, skinny, awkward best friend from high school or something.
Very common spring plant. They can also start up in the winter depending on your climate, and they're just trying to take over the world. But it's cool because they're friendly. It's alright. You'd be driving around in your car and look out across somebody's lawn and it looks like a carpet of purple, just like a bucket of purple exploded over there. And that's probably one of these two plants. All of the above ground parts are edible and you can eat them raw or cooked. They have an earthy flavor. They don't smell minty. They don't taste minty. It's a very green, very alive kind of a flavor. It's a very grounding type of flavor. Both plants are a little fuzzy. Really Purple Deadnettle's the fuzzy one. Henbit does technically have some fuzz on it, but you're not really going to notice it. And what I like to do is I like to focus more on eating the Henbit when I just want a food, and I'll use the Purple Deadnettle when I want it for medicine, most of the time. So how can you eat this stuff? Okay, obviously, chop it up, put it on a salad, and if the texture bothers you, get younger plants. Younger's almost universally better in terms of plants as food. You can put them in soups and stews, all the normal stuff. They work as a pot herb. I actually like them sautéed or stir-fried, mixed in with other vegetables. You probably want to mix them in with something else to sort of moderate that earthy goodness, right? Let me show you one recipe that I use that works really well with textures to hide any of the less pleasant aspects of this and blend it in so you still get all of the green goodness from it without any of the earthy flavor or the texture becoming a problem. It's really a good way to eat these plants.
For this recipe, we will need 2 cups of brown rice, pre-soaked to help get rid of the anti-nutrients, 1 teaspoon of butter, or maybe 2, and cook up however much chicken you want by whatever method you want, and then shred it up. 2 cups of organic chicken broth. I really want to make my own chicken broth, but I gotta make my own chickens. 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder, and 1 tablespoon of organic olive oil, and a good handful of Purple Deadnettle and Henbit, which I will chop up pretty small. And of course salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to slice up this giant onion because I really love onions.
half an onion would do for most regular humans. 1 can of mushrooms? Yeah, it's just a can of mushrooms. Hey, look, I don't have time to go out and forage everything for every meal.
Shh, I'm actually going to do that for a month later on. Shh, don't tell anybody. Actually tell everybody. Let's build it up. It'll be a great video.
We're going to melt your butter and that splash. Now let's put in our onions. And while we're waiting for that to saute, pour yourself some Buddha's Brew kombucha. The best brand of kombucha I have found from a company located in Texas. Try their grape lime. It's delicious. Might go a little heavy on here for health benefits. I'm just going to turn this rice a nice golden color. And let's toss in all this shameful big agriculture chicken. My store-bought, non-foraged, non-adventurous mushrooms. And let's toss in those weeds. I added the rest of the chicken broth because I needed the space in the refrigerator and the rice just looked thirsty. That's the best way I can explain it.
And now while this simmers, we're going to do what my wife assures me is the most important step. Clean up.
There, now doesn't that look beautiful?
Ooh, I'm ready to taste it. This goes really good with something creamy, so I chose sour cream, although you could pour some milk, some raw milk. Special shout out to my raw milk dealer.
They see me rolling, they hate it.
Or maybe, I'm thinking like a feta cheese would blend with this really well. Anyway. Get the sour cream stirred into it. Oh, hey, let's eat this. And kind of hot. Ooh. Can't talk eating. I love this. One of my favorite ones. Okay, here's the deal with this. The sour cream gives it such a good creaminess that goes with the rice and the chicken and the mushrooms. And the turmeric fits right in. It's not overpowering because turmeric can be, but this is great. And you're going to get those health benefits from the turmeric. Very anti-inflammatory. It's a great plant. But the henbit and the deadnettle kind of disappears in here, which for these plants, honestly, is probably a good thing. It's not that they taste so bad, they just, well, they don't taste good either. And with the purple deadnettle's fuzzier texture, it's nice to have some creamier textures to kind of cover and smooth that over. See, I had a big bite of it there. Can't even tell with the rice, with the chicken, and with the sour cream. You can't even tell. So this recipe is maybe not celebrating the henbit and deadnettle so much as it is just finding a way to cover it up. Now, how about medicinally? What can you do with these plants? Well, let's talk about purple deadnettle. It's the one that's more researched. It's the one that I'm more familiar with medicinally. They do have some overlaps, so if you only had henbit, you might be able to use that one too. But for now, let's stick with the purple deadnettle. Okay. First of all, it's very anti-inflammatory. Some of the research is showing that it's up there comparable with vitamin C. And of course, just nutritionally, you can fix a lot of problems just eating a good, healthy diet. So there's that. It's also a styptic, a blood stopper. So you can bruise the leaves and put it against a cut, or you can chew it up and make a spit poultice. Spit poultices are pretty easy. I really ought to do a video just on that at some point. It has another really interesting property, and that is it's anti-allergy. And hey, can't get enough of those anti-allergy plants, right? Now personally, I don't have a lot of trouble with allergies, although I've noticed that whenever I eat more of these or make the tea, well, it sure dries me up and it stops any of the irritation. I've had other people try this and they have good results too. I have a plant buddy right now who's using it, and she's said that it's very effective for her. If she drinks a cup of the tea at night, she'll wake up all clear and fine, ready for the day, and if she forgets to drink it, she wakes up kind of puffy eyes, you know, that itchy throat, coughing, that runny nose, all that stuff. But then if she takes it in the morning, then pretty soon she's cleared back up again. So let me show you how to make a purple deadnettle tea, and this is a good tea even if you don't have allergies. It's just a good tea.
Start with some purple deadnettle leaves. You can use fresh, these are dried. This is more than you need. A big teaspoon is probably a good amount for most people. Use whatever works for you. Now let's boil some water, and through the magic of editing, that was fast. Just pour the water onto the leaves, And we're going to let that cool off. Actually, it could have set longer, but it's fine. Now we can just scoop the leaves out. You don't have to scoop the leaves out. You could eat them, drink them all together. You could eat that stuff. The smell is wonderful and earthy and green and alive. The taste, not so exciting. So, I'm going to add in some milk.
They see me rolling.
Make it really extra nice. Put in some raw honey. You could also go the lemon and honey route. That works real good too. I like this a little better.
So I poured in more milk than I meant to. Still delicious, still wonderful, still medicinal. That's good. And hey, since it's raw milk, that's extra healthy too. All the extra living enzymes, all of the non-deactivated nutrients. See, living it up. With some Deadnettle tea. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something about purple Deadnettle and about Henbit and how to tell them apart. Those little rascals always switching places. And I will see you next time. Until then, I want you to go out and eat something wild and green, and happy foraging. And happy herbal medicining. Bye.